AskReddit by Anonymous Turtle 34. What's the most brutal rejection you've ever gotten? Was told we should just be friends. A week later I was told we should be the type of friends that don't talk to each other. To be that type of friend, you have to hang out again eventually and it be like no time has passed. I doubt that was your case. Sorry man. Many years ago, after getting divorced at 30, I hit the online dating scene. I had essentially never dated as an adult, having met my ex-wife in college. I was not prepared for how brutal online dating was. This was in the match-a-harmony days, not the apps. First online date, we meet up at a restaurant. She walks in, sees me, and says, "Oh, you are much uglier in person," and walks out. Doesn't even sit down. Everything turned out fine, but happily married for 10 years again. But I thought that was pretty unnecessarily brutal and strange. Dodged a bullet there. I have a similar story. I was in a nightclub, and I saw this girl I thought was quite attractive. I eventually got the courage to go up and approach her, and when I did she said "you" and walked away. I had a couple of good friends that I knew and hung out with almost daily since I was 6 years old just started to ghost me when we were in high school. Despite me asking them what was wrong, they never answered. If we hung out in our small friend group, they would ignore me. One day, they asked me to come over. They had me sit down in my friend's living room, and they flat out told me that they didn't want to be friends anymore, but they also didn't want to be enemies. No explanation, they just didn't want me to exist to them anymore. I, to this day, have no idea why. The fucked up thing was is they tried to drag my other friends away from me too. If my other friends were hanging out at my house, they would call my house, ask to speak to my friend and try to get them to leave to come hang out with them. Luckily, my other friends were much more mature and called that bullshit out, and they are still my best friends to this day. Happy ending with the real ones. Back in the days of MSN Messenger, I got blindly set up with this girl by a friend. We hit it off, exchanged selfies, all of that jazz. Being in middle school, it was obviously nothing serious or explicit, just dumb little flirty stuff. We decided to meet in person at a dance that we'd both be attending with our respective friend groups. I didn't see her for most of the night. When I finally did and a slow song came on, I went over and asked her to dance with me. She winced and shook her head. I just said okay and walked away defeated. Later, online, I'd asked her why she'd turned me down. Her response was, "Oh, that was you? I don't like ugly and fat people." She deserves hell. When my mom took me back to the adoption agency, I wish to return this child. Do you have anything in a blonde? Deleted. Bro, my heart bleeds for you. I fell in love with the idea of you. My ex long distance boyfriend, after a little over 2 years of an off and on relationship, right before breaking up with me. Recently had something similar happen to me with my ex-GF. Together for 6 years, which felt like it got thrown out of the window just like that. Do hope you found peace and happiness afterwards. I was once looking for a job. I had been looking for a long time and I received yet another rejection email. But I immediately received a follow-up from the organization asking that I disregard the prior message as it was sent in error and that I would receive the correct message shortly. The subsequent email was a differently worded rejection letter. Brutal. Sorry, but this one's fucking hilarious. I asked someone for a smoke once and he pointed to my stomach and said, "Nah, you shouldn't if you're pregnant." Yeah, I was not pregnant, just a sloppy, fat 20-year-old. Who is no longer fat or a smoker, thankfully. The real kicker was that you aren't even a woman. Going out with my school girlfriend for 4 years, she left 1 year, came back and we got back together, things were doing great, and then I asked her what she thought about us being more than just boyfriend girlfriend. We were 22 at the time. She laughed, looked at me straight in the eyes and pierced my heart with a dagger, saying, "You thought I would marry you," while continuing laughing. I couldn't live near the thought of her anymore, moved to Paris and then moved 2,000 miles away across the Atlantic. Fking lizard PPL man, 4 years and she can't let you down with a little kindness? At a festival, saw two girls hyping each other. Then they said, "We are doing it tonight." They turned to me and then turned each other, which looked like they were contemplating, then they seemed to agree. Then they turned to me again smiling and started talking to me. Seeing this whole interaction, two dudes just jumped into the whole conversation and started talking to the girls. All was happening too fast and one of the girls said, "You are out MR glasses," and they all walked away. I didn't even start the conversation, but damn, that hurt. Got told they were forcing themselves to be with me because they knew I'd give them a good life. Then proceeded to tell me that they were attracted to me anymore, and sex with me started to feel like it was wrong. I overheard an acquaintance talking with her friends. The friend likes a guy because he has money, but he is abusive. Her other friend said to just marry the guy for his money, to which she replied that she likes this other guy as well and can't make up her mind behind the rich abuser or the nice guy. Dude I was friends with in my teens reached out to me when we were both adults. Flirted, told me he could see something real with me. Invited me out to his place for a weekend. Felt me up, kissed me, told me how much he loved my boobs and spending time with me. Halfway through I asked what this meant for us, relationship wise, and he said, "Sorry, but you just need to get hotter. I want a trophy wife and you are too fat." Broke my heart. Since years prior I was bulimic and nearly killed myself, he knew. Well, now I'm no longer fat, and he's happy with some girl. Hope you are doing well and happy. Wrote poetry to a girl in the grade above me. When I finally admitted it was me who was writing them, all she said was, "Oh." I was so crushed I stopped. 2 decades later I found out from someone that the "oh" wasn't disinterest. It was that she knew it was me and didn't realize I thought I'd kept her in the dark. She'd actually loved getting my little letters in her locker and would read them to the other girls who'd all be jealous. If I'd known she knew, I would have never stopped. Viral example of rolling a 1 on your perception check, this one. Dated a girl for 1 month. She started saying and showing she really was into me. 2 days later when she went to a festival she fell in love with a new guy and just said, "Sorry, I met someone else on the festival. It was nice with you. Wish you all the best." Shitty situation, but at least she didn't hide it from you and turn it into a long-term affair or waste your time. Told a girl once that I had a crush on her. She replied, "Don't worry, it happens." Never talked again. She was actually nice and brilliant. Her response was very nice and funny, instead of direct rejection or manipulation for long time. She gave you a chance to laugh it off with her and save your face. Kudos to her. When my dad told me he loves me, but he just doesn't like me. Jesus Christ. My high school Sadie Hawkins dance rolled around and, for those who aren't in the know, the girl asks the boy. In this scenario, as in all scenarios, I happen to be the girl. I gathered all of my teenage shy girl bravery and asked my crush to the dance. If I didn't do it then, I'd surely lose my chance at a first kiss. He said that he'd be out of town and so, no, he couldn't be my date. I was crestfallen, but turned up alone to the dance anyways. I was bopping away to whatever 90s tunes when I saw my crush, the crush that was meant to be 200 miles away. We locked eyes, he hid from me. Like, he sprinted away and hid in the bathroom. I burst into tears and ran home. At least it killed my crush and I never spoke to him again. An ex broke up with me on Valentine's Day. I had bought her 3 bouquets of flowers and planned to cook dinner for us lol. This same ex had once asked me never to break up with her on a holiday or her birthday, and also insisted that a breakup should be done in person if possible, but over the phone at the least. Yet, she attempted to break up with me via text. 3 bouquets sound kind of intense though. Tinder some years ago. I messaged a guy who matched, he instantly replied, "Oh hell no," then sorry, then unmatched me. Back when I was still in high school, I had a crush on a girl in my class. She had just become recently single and was talking about how she was never going to find someone. Well, I simply said, "Well, I'd like to go out with you." Then she get up and as she begins to leave class shouts out, "Fonz 136, I'd never date you, happily married now," but that one still stings when I think about it. I once sat next to an attractive girl in the cafeteria at a student job I had when I was 19. I said something like, "What's new with you?" as a general opener, and she said, "My boyfriend is having a BBQ this weekend but meat gives me the shits." It was an impressive precision strike. She smiled so pleasantly at me. Paused for a second, and when the smile faded she let out the sternest and most blankly faced, "No." So this one is weird. I was never going to ask this girl out as she was way out of my league. But we were in a group project together in college. So I asked what she was doing one night the next week. She says nothing. Why? But her body language? Took a step back, had the most disgusted look on her face I've ever seen on someone. And when I said it was a group meetup she just relaxed and was all happy. I was like, WTF. Said she wasn't ready, then called me a month later saying that she slept with someone she met and that she understood that she really wanted to be with me. Something similar happened to a friend of mine. She had been dating this guy for a month and then he broke up with her saying that he wasn't ready for commitment. Not very long after that, she saw him at the drive-in with another girl.